Good morning, Dr. Riesler. How are you this morning?
I am doing well. Good morning to you, Greg.
Well, thanks for giving us a few minutes to talk to us about what all you have going on. And in some of our conversation, you're a very busy person and have a lot of exciting things going on in your life. So congratulations.
Well, thank you. We do try to stay busy.
So firstly, let's just talk a little bit kind of about your core business, your private practice in West Des Moines Center for Psychotherapy. Can you tell the people a little bit about that and who your ideal patient is for that practice a little bit?
Sure. So I have my practices in West Des Moines, obviously, as the title of our practice is. And there's four of us psychologists there. We serve a very wide range of clients. And, you can think of our practice basically as providing two general services. We do individual therapy, traditional psychotherapy we're all generalists. So we see clients basically who have any mental health concern. And then the other part of our practice is assessment, psychological assessment. So we do assessments for a variety of purposes, for learning disorders, ADHD, personality, for workmen's compensation, for medical procedures, people who are going to go through certain medical procedures and they require a psychological evaluation. We will do those as well. So autism spectrum disorder. So part of our practice is assessment, part of our practice is doing traditional therapy.
Okay. Tell us, I've been asking in these interviews, I've been asking how last year affected the business. And I guess I'd be interested in knowing, we heard a lot about people going under more stress last year and all the, all the COVID issues that were going on. So how did that affect your psychotherapy clinic, your business? What did you see last year due to the COVID?
Well, we're still seeing a lot of increased stress, right? People have the traditional stressors of their lives, and now the pandemic has compounded whether they have trauma or general stressors, right? And so, from people losing jobs, fearful of losing homes, losing loved ones, though all of those layers compound whatever the client is already bringing into therapy. So, the level of stress we're seeing, the amount of grief we're seeing people go through is significant. And of course, the demand for services is increased as we would have expected.
Sure,
So,
sure.
yeah, it has been impacted in a number of ways.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it's a good thing that you're there for the people when they need your services. So congratulations on that. So
Thank
let's
you.
let's talk a little bit about another part of the business that you get into in developing leaders and your leadership program that you have going on.
Yes. So I am a certified Dare to Lead facilitator. If people are familiar with the work of Dr. Brene Brown, she has been doing research for a number of years. She's a professor down at University of Houston, Texas. And most of her research in the last 10, 15 years has surrounded what it takes for leaders to be braver, more courageous, do the things that are difficult to do, give difficult feedback, talk about diversity, inclusion, and equality issues, um, address issues of shame, difficulties with innovation and creativity. So we look at and we examine all of these issues and the things that hold people back, and we're really just training them. You could think of it as almost as an emotional intelligence training. Is helping leaders develop a skill set to address, maybe the personal characterological things that happen in the workplace. So that is what I do. My other part of the time is I go into groups and organizations who want to certify their leaders in this work, and we facilitate the training. It varies. We look at the organization's pain points and really tailor the training to that.
Okay, so tell us how long have you been doing that type of that leadership training?
Well, I've been facilitating that specific training now for a little over 2 years, and but facilitating Dr. Brené Brown's work for 5 years now. So I have been certified in some of her other work even prior to that. So I'm quite familiar with her research.
Okay. Who would be the ideal client for that type of training? Who's the best fitted? Who needs that? Where would you be the most effective in working with people with that?
Really any group who is interested in developing their leaders. This doesn't compete with other traditional programs that people go into companies to do. And the way we think about it is, where, we supplement really other training programs in that, you can teach people any set of skills, but ultimately who they are as people will determine whether they're able or willing to implement it. And what we do is really supplement the skill set that will help people implement the work. So, we're a complementary program to a lot of the, other programs that people have traditionally sought out in organizations. We work with everyone, with educational settings, we work with nonprofits, with for-profit organizations. And we don't talk just about leaders in terms of leaders who have a title, right? Not just the management leaders, but we look at a much more broader definition of leader. Anybody who can see potential in people and processes and develop that potential. That's how we define it, which is really an empowering of also people who are looking to grow professionally and want to maybe pursue more managerial roles.
Sure, very interesting. So how did last year with the COVID, how did it affect that training program? What kind of changes did you have to implement to work around all the COVID restrictions? Tell us about that, please.
Yes. Well, that was a huge adjustment. As you can imagine, well, many events got canceled, and anything that wasn't canceled was moved completely online. And so the adjustment really was, we're used to doing process in person. And as a therapist, for me to give people feedback and practicing skills, I lose a lot of nonverbal information when I only see people from the neck up, right? And so it was a really big adjustment, but people did great. And, there's benefits to it too. We used to go into a corporation and give this training in 3 days back to back, and then we leave and we almost have people drinking out of a water hose, right? Forcing it into online training allowed us to really break it down because we couldn't keep people for 3 days on the computer, sitting in front of the computer. So it forced us to break it down. And the lovely part of that has been that people have had a chance to actually get a little bit of the content, practice some of the skills in between those sessions, and then come back and get feedback in between. And so, we've adjusted nicely, and actually we've kept a lot of it online even now. And I anticipate we might stay on a hybrid model where we might do some things in person and do some things online.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Understand. How is your phone starting to ring now for 21? Or are people starting to look a little bit more at doing some of this training and reaching out a little bit more?
Absolutely. Our phone was ringing a lot at the beginning of the year. Everybody was ready to pick back up or reschedule what had been canceled. So we're full. We're full for 2021. We're now looking at, 2022 events, but yeah, we're happy to be delivering the training.
Okay. So if someone would like to get in touch with you, how's the best way to get in touch with you? How does somebody learn more about what you do, what you can do for them?
Yes. So thank you for asking that. I don't love social media too much, so I don't have a huge social media presence. It really detracts a lot of my helpful time to prepare for other things. But I always tell people my website. So the website for our private practice is WDMCP, the initials for West Des Moines Center for Psychotherapy. wdmcp.com. And my website for the consulting work is my name, catalinadwrestler.com.
Oh, very good. Very good. So one last question I'm going to make you think here.
Sure.
Tell everybody what is passionate for you. What do you feel really passionate about?
Wow, that's I feel passionate about people's stories. I think that's maybe the best answer I can give you. I love what I do, both in consulting and in private therapy. And I think what keeps me going is that I love people's stories. I love to hear people's stories, but I also love to tell stories. And that is the essence of getting to know someone and really getting people to trust you. So, um, people's stories, I would say, is what I'm passionate about.
Well, very good. So we've been talking to Dr. Catalina Wrestler, and her website she has mentioned on here. So anybody that would like to reach out to learn more about either your private psychotherapy practice or your training practice should reach out to you. So, Doctor, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you, Greg. I appreciate you